My name is Nina Deeb. Ontario had a debt of $337 billion in 2018. Current outlook 2024-2025 puts this debt to $429 billion. That's an increase of $92 billion. $21 billion was added this year alone. From page 135 of the Housing Starts formula, including additional residential units, student housing, long-term care beds, and retirement homes. This is creative calculating. I object to the reworking that is being counted as a home with every budget. This covers up the housing starts are declining. Ontario Place Therma lease is an excellent deal for Therma. The people of Ontario will never see any returns on the $2.237 billion of spending. The Auditor General revealed the present value of rent only amounts to $163 million of the total $1.1 billion of rent. This does not cover the interest payments on the money that the province borrowed. Even if the tenant were to prepay the rent, that still leaves a debt of over $2 billion. Interest to borrow $2 billion over 95 years. I've included the chart for you. I will not go over it. I use the rates from page 180 in the budget. This lease traps the Crown in arbitration with the tenant. That's Schedule D. The tenant is in a position to extract penalties from the Crown by arbitration. Page 66 and 65 of the Ontario Audit Report reveals that Infrastructure Ontario agreed to pay a $30 million penalty for not providing interim utility service required by Therma without first agreeing on what was needed to meet this obligation. This deadline's within the one-year cure period of December 31st this year. Infrastructure Ontario told the auditor it's expected that discussions will conclude by this same date. December 31st is too late to stop talking. This is within 15 days. The lease released October 3rd, 2024 is not the original lease. The original lease was signed the previous year under a different ministry and is dated July 29th, 2021. I'd like to see a copy of this lease. The current lease must be canceled. We're within 15 days. We're going to incur very heavy penalties, and it is not a good deal for the taxpayers. The $3 billion credit to taxpayers could cost taxpayers an additional $1.47 to $3.6 billion in interest over 10 years. We do not know what interest rates will be in the future. This is similar to taking a $3 billion cash advance on a credit card with no plans of repaying it. Trade lanes are federal, bike lanes are municipal. Each government must stay in their own lane to avoid collisions. No elected official should be surprised by another elected official from a different level of government driving straight at them. Bike lanes are a solution to traffic congestion. Modern planning designs that they be accessible for emergency vehicles. This is municipally funded infrastructure. These are local decisions. Bike lanes save lives. The data exists. There's a human cost to removing bike lanes. The government find it necessary to insulate themselves from lawsuits reveals that the government knows that their idea is fatal. The decision to close 10 supervised consumption sites is harmful. This action will lead to an increase in overdose deaths. This action, removing the sites, will not remove the overdoses. The overdoses will occur in public places. The sites ease the pressure on our emergency responses. A 911 call is responded to by police, fire, and paramedics. We do not want to go backwards. We've found a better way forward. Are there too many nonprofits? No, some of them are legitimate. Permitting P3 corporations under Ontario's nonprofit network is not appropriate. These NGO corporations were severed from the Ministry of Consumer Services. They're extremely wealthy monopoly corporations that are defunding Canada, Ontario, municipalities, and individuals. These corporations run the law for profit by arbitration while avoiding taxation on the billions of dollars they collect a year. When adjusted to population, Ontario has the lowest housing starts in history. Housing is the excuse for intervention, yet the new tools were not used to include the affordable housing component that municipalities requested. The auditor report on ministerial zoning orders reveals that the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing made MZOs instead of MZOs, which were introduced in 2020. The ministry had housing enabling tools but did not use them. Housing is provincial jurisdiction. The province downloads its housing responsibility to the municipalities and chooses to fine those that they have failed. It is housing that prevents homelessness. We should be building housing. I request $60 billion be downloaded to the municipalities who have the responsibility for this housing in order to make them whole and to meet their housing goals. The municipalities should be treated as partners in our housing ambitions and goals. Thank you for having me here today. I do look forward to answering your questions.